Apparently this person had a snark subreddit about them, and apparently they killed themselves. I don't know why I laughed. That's not funny. I'm sorry. I don't know why I intonated it that way. I don't think that's a word.
Hi everyone. I just want to start this video out by saying parental advisory. This is not a video for children.
Please God, okay? I don't plan on killing myself right now, but if I ever do, please God, if one of you makes a video about how sad it is, please do not start it off by giving a trigger warning. Please don't do that to me, okay?
And a trigger warning, some of the things you're about to hear are going to be triggering for some people. I don't have approval from the board to make this video, but I have to say what needs to be said. I have to. This is a video I never planned on making, and it's completely devastating having to sit down and write this out. But a couple days ago, Michaela Rains passed away. This is the most hurtful and difficult time of my life, so please bear with me as I try to read this through the tears. Michaela was the most bright and shining example of what you could accomplish if you really set your mind to something. She was never held back by ideas that everyone else considered unrealistic. As many of you know, she was on the autism spectrum, and while that made her life very difficult, it allowed her to hyper-focus on one thing, and that one thing was obviously animals. From a young age, she dedicated every waking hour of her life to helping them, whether it was helping a snapping turtle cross the road or saving 500 foxes from a terrible fur farm. She was never in it for fame, money, or personal gain. She was truly one of the most selfless people I have ever known.
Why are we watching this? I don't know, it's a little crazy. I guess I don't know the full backstory, but it feels like the snark thing used to be kind of just like kiwi farms and like lolcow and PULL and stuff, but now it's like it's a common thing. It seems very crazy to me that Reddit allows the snark forum stuff because Reddit is so opposed to general hate forums, like fat people hate and all of those seem to have gotten banned. You can have like entirely dedicated anti-fan subs that are just for anti-fanning people. It seems a little crazy, but...
She put the animals' well-being...
Well, for some people, sorry. Some people, their anti-fan subs get banned immediately, but...
Over her own, time and time again. She would forgo sleep, eating, and showering if there was an animal that needed her help. And it was not just foxes. I've seen her help birds.
I actually watched this channel. You just made me learn about this right now. What the fuck? Yeah, I think this was yesterday it was announced.
Reptiles, sheep, squirrels. I truly believe when it came to animals, she could do anything. She would build the strongest bonds with all of the animals here, constantly working to earn their trust and create a lasting connection. Every single animal here just lost their best friend. And over the course of her life, she was responsible for saving into the 4 figures of animals, and all of your support made that possible. She would always love the letters that you would send, the pictures and paintings that
You know what the snarker's issue with her was? I have no idea. I've never read her sub. I don't even know anything about this person. I just saw that they would kill themselves.
The children made, and the kind words and comments in your posts. Her words were heard by millions and has affected more lives personally than I could ever hope to count.
Apparently they privated it. Several years ago, I wrote an informational post explaining why a prominent figure in the animal rescue community is not the same people think she is. Now I alone am being blamed for her suicide. One thing, you kind of have to be in the community to understand like how it works, but there's a lot of kind of subtle signaling and messaging that to external people seems fine, but it's very annoying because if you know, then you know. So for instance, they talk a lot in, kiwi farms will do this as well, and I imagine all the snarkers do, will say things about how I'm just writing informational stuff, or this is just like cataloging When people say things like that, what they really mean is you're A-logging. You're creating like an obsessive history of every single interaction, public or private, that this person has done, and then you're trying to connect it to other people in their life and potentially logging and cataloging everything that those people do. All of this includes doxes and everything as well, but doxing is like the least of your worries with like this like category of people. And then also a lot of it will include speculation and then people kind of giving their own spin and interpretation of events as well. So. But that's what when people say informational post, it means it's generally some like insane deep dive like that. A video dropped today announcing Michaela Raines of Save a Fox's death ever since my notes have been overflowing with her meat riders. People have obsessively brigaded my posts and comments on various subs. You people are calling me slurs, threatening to dox me, and telling me to kill myself as well. And somehow you're the good guys. I bet if I were to actually kill myself, you would be very quiet. When I first found out what happened in the very heat of the moment, I felt no remorse. Then a pit made itself known in my stomach and began to expand. But now, with the way you people are behaving, the guilt is starting to wane. I am proud of the fact that I was able to raise awareness of her wrongdoings. What I'm not proud of is that people took her death as an invitation to hold me personally responsible. Do you really think Michaela went, oh no, 2 years ago, a small furry creator on the internet said I'm not perfect, time to kill myself? I wonder what her wrongdoing, I wonder what that means, what they wrote about. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything about the history of this person. You probably won't believe me when I say this, but I was never a part of the SAF, that's the content creator, Save a Fox Snark subreddit. I never even knew it existed before today. Since the initial announcement, over 40 people have wished various things like bankruptcy and homelessness on me and telling me to rope myself and do what she did, among other graphic instructions to suicide. One person even told me to create mustard gas. I also like how these people that do all the A-logging is what people call it. A-logging is when you like obsessively stalk a person and then write all their information down in some like massively deranged anti-fanning posts, right? I like that all the people at A-log will get super self-righteous when people start, kind of attacking them as well, which is funny, but... Since the initial announcement, over 40 people. Oh, another thing I've seen is people pulling the autism card. Newsflash, autism will give you impunity from animal abuse. I should know since I have it too. If Michaela cannot be blamed for her fox's easily preventable deaths, then I cannot be blamed for her own death. If you're going to blame anyone, blame the Tumblr users. What's this mustelid? And is the fox video cute for bringing to my attention everything wrong with Save a Fox? I simply compiled the information they'd given me. That is not bullying. From what's this mustelid themselves? There's another person, I guess. Edith specifically pointed out that the loudest voices affecting Michaela were people she knew and other animal sanctuaries, not a random Tumblr blog that gets less than 100 notes in each post. This post probably won't make things any better for me, but what you're doing now certainly isn't making things any better for you either. Are the people that post on Snark subs psychopaths? Like, what kind of people are drawn to this stuff? I think it takes a certain type of person to be like an obsessive anti-fan, but I don't think they're so much psychopaths because usually they've convinced themselves that what they're doing is righteous, and they also kind of, I don't want to abuse this word, but like dehumanize the people that they talk about. Like they just don't view them as people in their personal lives or people that they have a personal relationship with. So it's very easy to, if you view somebody as just like an object to be spoken about and obsessed over, then it's just not you're not thinking about it as much, I guess.
She was not just a rescuer, but an advocate. Her legacy is Save a Fox. And despite her being the most important part of that, I am not going to let it stop here. I will do whatever I can to see Save a Fox keep moving forward to save as many lives as possible. I gave Michaela all of my love and energy.
Is this just a video of him talking about this? Well, not, I don't mean to belittle it, sorry.
And I will do the same with this rescue going forward. As long as you are all here to support us, we can do this. And I will try to keep the content coming since that is such an important part of our funding. As long as you all can continue donating, interacting online, buying merch, and coming here for tours, we can continue to help the many helpless animals that need us and educate and bring awareness to everyone. This is what Michaela would want, and I have to see her goals and dreams be realized. Aside from being the amazing superhero of animals, Michaela was also a wonderful wife and a caring mother. Every day I would wake up to a list from her on exactly what we needed to accomplish in the day.
I didn't understand Snarkers until I watched an actual episode of H3. Ethan is right to call it world building. Dan will gently correct Ethan when he exaggerates, but it's clearly not pushback, it's just being factual. And then Hassan went on H3 and acted like he actually believed Dan was secretly aligned with him. They do create their whole separate realities. Remember, it's always the projection thing. So like one thing that they say this a lot of my QB farms, they're just like, oh, he's trying to control the narrative. But I mean, what they truly do is when people document and catalog stuff on this, they have their whole world of like what's actually going on and what's actually happening behind the scenes the whole time. And then they'll give an explanation for it. And then they religiously will try to archive stuff to further their worldview. And especially if it's an online figure who is doing YouTube, especially streaming, like you can always find, there's so much information out there. You can find basically whatever you want to support, whatever story you want as well.
Her work ethic was, for lack of better words, relentless. But we did everything together. Despite her pouring out all of her love for the animals, she still found some love to give to me. I have never shared a bond with anyone the way I have with her.
Wait, was this like her boyfriend or something, or just a close friend, or?
We spent nearly every moment of every day together. And now half of me is missing.
Oh, husband. Oh, sorry. This video makes a lot more sense now. Okay. And they have a kid. Oh, shit. I thought this was just like a random friend that worked at this place. Oh, shit. That's super, super, super insanely rough. Yikes. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Sorry. Damn.
Sorry. She had so many lofty goals and aspirations, and she would push and push until it got done. But despite all of this, she was a best friend to Freya. And every day she would teach her how to interact with, respect, and care for the animals here. They would go on pony rides together, swing in the fox yards, and take care of Freya's little cockroaches. The first thing Freya would want every morning is mommy. But through all of this, for her entire life, she struggled.
Justical A logs the hell out of you. If you try to debate him about anything regarding you, he will be as statistic as possible and ask for fucking date, time, location, longitude, and latitude of when you did or said something to make it impossible to have a conversation with him in good faith. He is addicted to you. Oh, yeah, apparently I get people who send me videos of him. He'll debate people off stream about whether or not I'm an e-rapist. And I think he made a channel in his Discord for people to specially come and debate about me. Yeah.
She struggled with autism, with depression, with borderline personality disorder, and more. She was always in and out of different kinds of therapy, trying various mood stabilizers and meds, but nothing really seemed to help. Simple tasks were hard for her. Looking at her from the outside, you could never tell what was going on in her head, but even just socializing would send her over the edge. Looking at a cluttered restaurant menu would make her just want to leave. And wearing the jeans that she loved would give her so many sensory problems that it could ruin her entire day. And if you follow her personal page, she loved helping educate people about the problems that she and others faced on a daily basis. She would stay up late at night writing away about things out of her control and how she would attempt to cope with them. She made posts and discussed autism awareness so that it could be spread and help everyone understand just how difficult life can be for those on the spectrum. And she was so sensitive to everything, which is a double-edged sword because on one hand, it allowed her endless empathy for those in her care, but it also means that she took everything negative to heart. And now I want to talk about how words, whether spoken in person or written online, can affect someone. For a few years, a group of people had been throwing dirt on Michaela's name and the rescue. Most of these are people she knew, and some of them are other animal sanctuaries. They consistently spread ridiculous claims and rumors, and being the sensitive human that she was, Michaela took it all to heart. And it hurt her. It hurt her a lot.
This sounds like a prepared speech. It kind of does, yeah, that's true. I wonder why he keeps looking down into his hands on the piece of paper as well. No shit, Sherlock fucking Holmes.
But she pushed through. For years, she pushed through the pain of people trying to bring her down and the mental challenges she faced, and she still rescued hundreds of animals and changed the lives of so many. But recently, more of the...
I remember you being pretty critical of the people kill themselves because of internet harassment conversation in the past. Have you changed your mind about that? I don't think I'm critical of it in general. I think I was critical of it in a few specific circumstances. Like, for instance, for Reckful. Reckful had severely... That guy was... If anybody ever had clinical depression, it was absolutely Reckful. And I think there was stuff about Tumat at the time as well. I don't remember 100% as much about that. The issue with some of the kind of harassment that exists today, I don't want to make broad statements about kiwi farms because I don't read shit like this generally. Like I just get like leaked stuff from my thread, but I don't watch everything. But one thing that I hear said a lot, and maybe this was never true, so people can tell me if I'm right or wrong, is it used to be that in places like kiwi farms, you would go to these places and then you would write about people and you would just kind of like laugh about them with the fellow farmers, and that's all you would do. And they had like the policy was like, don't reach out and fuck with these people because then they'll stop producing milk, right? They won't be entertaining anymore if you start fucking with them. I don't know what changed, but it feels like as of recently, over the past like couple years, it's not enough to just have a place where you talk about people. Now you have to like be involved. You've got to reach out. You've got to harass. You've got to you've got to go to other communities. You've got a brigade. You've got to go to other social media. Now it's like insane. But I don't know if this is just my Kiwi Farms thread or not. I don't know if it's just my Kiwi Farms thread or not, or if it's everybody's, or if this is just like snarker communities have changed in general. Like in mine, for instance, like there was this one fucking girl. I don't know why, dude. There's women are crazy on the internet now. Not just to people in my orbit, I guess. Unloaded all of our conversations to a person that posts on my Kiwi Farms site, and he said multiple times, I guess he's gonna do it. He's like, if Destiny wins his case, I'm gonna leak every single video and everything that this girl sent me. I was like, okay, well that's kind of unhinged, but like they're very actively involved in my ongoings. And then for a lot of these other snarker communities, you've seen with like the H3 snark community and stuff, that they're also like very involved. Like it's not enough to just kind of talk shit. They have to like be involved in social media, reach out in other places and harass people in other places and spread information in other places. It's like very important that they do it. And it's just gotten to be a little bit unhinged. Because my advice in the past would have generally been, if a place is bothering you, if you feel bad reading certain comments, just don't read them. Especially in places like LolCow or in places like Kiwi Farms, don't go to the website. It's very easy. But now all of the people on those boards, or at least it seems from what I've seen, will aggressively try to spread that to other areas. And so it's a little bit unhinged, I think.
Rude words, accusations, and name calling came from some of those she considered close friends. I think all of this stems from jealousy and envy. But she felt as if the entire world had turned against her. She had always battled with borderline personality disorder causing emotional instability, as well as impulsive behaviors. But this time it went too far. She couldn't bear what she was...
Do you have a theory that what makes you specifically so attractive for people to not just like a discreet, but completely obsess over for months and months? There's two things, I think. The two main things, I've said this a million times. So one is I don't map cleanly on other political communities, so it's easy to make enemies out of everyone. Two, actually I'll just say three things. Two is my demeanor in general. I have a very aggressive, like debatey demeanor. And three is because I used to do such a variety of content before, a lot of it involving a lot of crazy dramatic stuff, like the labs and the Mr. Girls and the Anna Bars and everything else, and John Zerka and all this and Red Pill stuff and everything else. Because my life was so public, it attracted a certain type of viewer. Like there are certain types of people that like to watch stuff like that. So I think all of these things kind of like play together to, by 2024, I'd picked up a lot of unhinged, like obsessive people.
But this time it went too far. She couldn't bear what she was feeling any longer. And she ended her life.
Kiwi Farm still has that rule about harassment. They've watched so closely that they will follow the law at least. Maybe in some places, but not in my thread. And I know Josh posts in my thread, so I know he sees it going on. But in my thread, they'll pretty commonly post links to like other social media for people to go on brigade comments and shit, or to Reddit threads and everything else. Like they're pretty big on that.
And it breaks my heart that someone who is selfless and devoted her life to animals could have so much negativity pointed at her. Why? That's all I can ask is why. In a world that's filled with darkness, she was just light. She was just light. And to those of you that pushed her to this, every one of you that had been responsible for making her feel this way, I wish you had to see me find her. And I wish you had to watch me perform CPR on her for 15 minutes until the first responders arrived. And I wish you had to watch helplessly as paramedics attempted to revive her lifeless body. And I wish you had to hear the screams and the cries of her family. I wish you had to see tiny heartbroken Freya try to understand why she could never see her mommy again.
How old did they say? How old is her child?
I wish you understood what you were doing before you did it, before it had to go this far. And I wish you understood that words do have real and terrible consequences. If you only have negative garbage to say, just shut up. And if you are feeling lost and hopeless, please reach out to someone, whether it's friends and family or calling a hotline. And to everyone else, please keep an eye on those around you. Look for the signs because they are there. Do something or say something before it's too late. Despite this being the biggest loss of my life, and feeling like I have a literal hole in my chest. I will not let Michaela's light be extinguished, and I won't let negativity win, and I won't let her mission fall apart. I'm going to continue to push to rescue the remaining fur farm foxes, and after that, save as many animals as possible. But I will need your help. As long as you guys will continue to support all of us here at Save a Fox, we will keep pushing forward. I'm confident we can bring more light to this world, and we'll be doing it for Michaela. For now, we all just need some space and some privacy, but I'll soon discuss a day where everyone can come here and pay their final respects. And I'm just going to end it with, I love you, Michaela. I will always love you so much. And I miss you.
The worst, oh wait, do you think this will have any impact on the snark shit in general? I feel like Reddit should be lit up for allowing shit like this. Well, I don't know her personally. I didn't know this person. I don't know if they killed themselves because of the snark subreddit. Obviously, I think her husband saying that contributed to it. It might have. I truly don't know. But generally, the issue is that people who are snarking on people now, because everything is so intertwined with politics, people actually don't care. Like, if I were to kill myself, my whole thread and all of Hassan's community would be cheering. If Ethan killed himself, they would all be genuinely cheering. They might, maybe, do a virtue signal tweet where they're like, oh, like, nobody should kill themselves, blah, blah, but they would genuinely, they'd be cracking jokes and, like, having the time of their life about it. How would DGG react if Hassan killed himself? I think most people would say it's not a good thing. I know that like there are people in here that like to show how pure and how smart they are by saying that like, oh, like we do the same shit, but we wouldn't and we don't. It's not even remotely the same. I think that if you say that, I think that you're like a second meeting kind of person who's trying really, really, really hard to show the community how like special and smart and different you are. But the reality is there are so many posts where when Hassan does a good thing, I remember when he did the, and I even fought against it. I didn't like the opinion, but when Hassan was, what did he do? He supported something or did somebody, he went to a protest or something, maybe the No King stuff. And the subreddit comments were like, oh, well, listen, if Hassan is doing good stuff, like good for him. Like, oh, well, we should celebrate, blah, blah, blah. No other subreddit on the lefty part would ever say that about a liberal ever. So yeah, the comments that come from you fucking retards that are trying to be so special, like, oh, well, we would do the exact same thing. No, it's not even remotely the same. You're clueless when you say shit like that, but you're very special. So. Wait, sorry, hold on. This was a selfish suicide. I don't mean to be edgy, but it is. I'm really sad for her, but she left her kid without her mom. I think I understand people kill themselves when they are burdens on others, but this wasn't that. People don't kill themselves because they're burdens on other people. People kill themselves because they feel like life is not worth living. I don't think generally, unless you're talking about like, I think generally people kill themselves when they feel like life is too painful or there's too much anguish surrounding life. Yeah. Suicide is probably a selfish thing for sure, but I mean like the person doesn't want to live anymore. Like, Jesus. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary issue. Isn't that necessarily irrational and retarded? I mean, you live your life every day based upon the emotional outlook you have relating to your life. And if you feel like things are going to last forever, people will make decisions based on that emotional state. So. Hassan Slop.
Increased gas prices, or just dislike of us in the world because we're starting another unnecessary.
No, this is like guy who says, you know, I don't really appreciate Destiny for being a fucking creep, but also he's so brilliant and I really appreciate his commentary and analysis. So I'm going to continue watching him because I love when he owns people in the marketplace of ideas.
Meanwhile, Hassan, yeah, I understand that like Hamas might have done like mass rapes, mass murders and killed civilians, but like, come on, guys, it's the resistance. No resistance is perfect. Like, even if you believe the worst of what's been accused of me, like, you literally defend actual literal, not like figuratively literally, but literally defend terrorists who are doing literal terrorism. It's like, what the fuck? You're the last person in the world that could ever make this criticism of me or any of my fans.
Meanwhile, he does appreciate him being a sex pest and a creep.
Based from the Diddy party goer. Nice. From the guy who gave advice to his fans how to rape women when he was doing bro tips. Based.
Listen, separate the art from the artist. And then the art is just like what? Being a fucking...
State Department. IDF shill.
Being an NBC military analyst... but worse, that says, I guess, slurs as well. The art that I appreciate.
What I think.
Oh my God, what is this?
That's not how it
Ms.
works.
Stansbury,
Madam.
you're not recognized.
Madam Chairwoman, that is not how part.
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
All day, but that's not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
We're gonna get you a Robert's
Ms.
Rules of
Stansbury,
Order
you're
and
not.
Based? Okay. How do you feel about assisted suicide in that? I think it should probably be allowed if you're... I mean, if you have the ability to... I mean, if you truly want to die, and I guess if you could clear it, if there are certain hurdles that are passed, it's probably even ethical, right? Destiny, feeling like you're a burden is extremely correlated with suicide. Robin Williams felt like that. And here's Scarlett Alexander talking about it. I mean, I don't know how you describe like the primary, secondary, tertiary. Like feeling like a burden might be, I guess, in a way, I guess could be a part of it. But the feelings are not wholly rational, I don't think. Like I think it has more to do with your more fundamental emotional state, and then feeling like a burden on top. Like it, I guess, imagine somebody was like a quadriplegic and they were slowing down their family and friends a ton, and they were like, fuck, I want to kill myself because I feel like a burden on everybody. I mean, I guess they want to kill themselves because they feel like a burden, sure, but I mean, it's also because they're quadriplegic, right? But I feel like with mental illness, I guess it depends. It's really hard to generalize this. This usually has good things to say about everything though. Fuck it, I'll read it. The DSM lists 9 criteria for major depressive disorder, of which the 7th is playing jungle. Just kidding. Feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt. There are a lot of dumb diagnostic debates over which criteria are more important or more fundamental. And for me, there's always been something special about criterion 7. People get depressed over all sorts of things, but when they're actively suicidal, the people who aren't just gesturing for help, but totally set on it, they always say one thing: I feel like I'm a burden. Depression is in part a disease of distorted cognitions, a failure of rationality. I had one patient who worked for GM, a very smart guy, invented a lot of safety features for cars. He was probably actively saving a bunch of people's lives every time he checked in at the office, and he still felt like he was worthless, a burden, and that he was just draining resources that could be better used for someone else. In cases like these, you can do a little bit of good just by teaching people the fundamental lesson of rationality, that you can't always trust your brain. If your system 1 is telling you that you're a worthless burden, it could be because you're a worthless burden, or it could be because system 1 is broken. If system 1 is broken, you need to call on system 2 to route around the distorted cognition so you can understand, at least on an intellectual level, that you're wrong. Once you understand you're wrong on an intellectual level, you can do what you need to do to make it sink on a practical level as well, which starts with not killing yourself. Oh, cute. Oh, this is in 2014 too. Damn. Okay. It's cute that he makes this distinction. I make this distinction a lot, that you can know something intellectually, but it's not the same as feeling it emotionally. And sometimes you have to, like, with a fucking hammer, like, smash something in intellectually so much that eventually you hopefully start to pick it up emotionally as well. But these are two very, 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 very different things. The systems are, I guess you can connect them with, like, CBT or something, but, like, they're very different systems. As sad as it was, Robin Williams' suicide has actually been sort of helpful for me for the past few days. I've tried telling these sorts of people that Robin Williams brightened the lives of millions of people, was a truly great man, and his brain still kept telling him that he didn't deserve to live. So maybe depressed brains are not the most trustworthy arbiters on these sorts of issues. I don't know if he'll go more into this, but a lot of people assume, or I hear this said a lot, that Robin Williams just killed himself because of depression, but he had some severe, like, degenerative shit going on as well. Was it like Lewy body dementia or something? Like, he was fucked. That guy's brain was, like, deteriorating. But this sort of supportive psychotherapy, i.e. psychotherapy you make up as you go along, can sometimes take some people, can take people some of the way, and then the medications do the rest. But sometimes it's harder than this. I don't want to say anyone is ever right about being a burden, but a lot of the people I see aren't Oscar-winning actors or even automobile safety engineers. Some people just have no easy outs. Another patient, 25-year-old kid, had some brain damage a few years ago, now has cognitive problems and poor emotional control, can't do a job, got denied for disability a few times. In accordance with the ancient bureaucratic tradition, survives on a couple of lesser social programs he got approved for, plus occasional charity handouts, plus some help from his family. One can trace out an unlikely sequence of events by which his situation might one day improve, but I won't insult his intelligence by claiming it's very probable. Now, he attempts suicide, says he feels like a burden on everyone around him. Well, what am I going to say? It's not always people with some obvious disability. Sometimes it's just alcoholics or elderly people or people without the cognitive skills to get a job in today's economy. They think that they're taking more from the system that they're putting in, and in monetary terms, they're probably right. One common therapeutic strategy here is to talk about how the patient's friends, family, girlfriend, pet hamster love them, how heartbroken they would be if they killed themselves. In the absence of better alternatives, I've used this strategy. I have used it very grudgingly, and I've always felt dirty afterwards. It always feels like the worst sort of emotional blackmail. Not helping them want to live, just making them feel really guilty about dying. Sure, you're a burden if you live, but if you kill yourself, that would make you an even bigger burden. A++, best psychiatrist. There's something else I've never said because it's too deeply tied in with my own politics and not something I would expect anybody else to understand, and that is, humans don't owe society anything. We were here first. If my patient, the one with the brain damage, were back in the environment of evolutionary adaptedness and a nice tribe with Dunbar's number of people, there would be no problem. Maybe his cognitive problems make him a slightly less proficient hunter than someone else, but whatever, he could always gather. Maybe his emotional control problems would give him a little bit of a handicap in tribal politics, but he wouldn't get arrested for making a scene. He wouldn't get fired for not sucking up to his boss enough. He wouldn't be forced to live in a tiny apartment with people he didn't necessarily like, who were constantly getting on his nerves. He might get in a fight and end up with a spear through his gut, but in that case, his problems would be over anyway. Otherwise, he could just hang out and live in a cave and gather roots and berries and maybe hunt buffalo and participate in the appropriate tribal bonding rituals like everyone else. But society came and paved over the place where all the roots and berry plants grew and killed the buffalo and dynamited the caves and declared the tribal bonding rituals problematic. This increased productivity by about a zillion times, so most people ended up better off. The only ones who didn't were the ones who for some reason couldn't participate in it. If you're one of those people who sees red every time someone mentions evolution or cavemen, imagine him as a dock worker 100 years ago or a peasant farmer 1,000 years ago. Society got where it is by systematically destroying everything that could have supported him and replacing it with things that required skills he didn't have. Of course, it owes him when he suddenly can't support itself. Think of it as the ultimate use of eminent domain, a power beyond your control that sees everything in the world. It had some good economic reasons for doing so, but it at least owes you compensation. This is also the basis of my support for a basic income guarantee. Imagine an employment waterline gradually rising through higher and higher levels of competence. In the distant past, maybe you could be pretty dumb, have no emotional continence at all, and still live a pretty happy life. As the waterline rises, the skills necessary to support yourself comfortably become higher and higher. Right now, most people in the US who can't get college degrees, which are really hard to get, are just barely hanging on, and that is absolutely a new development. Soon enough, even some of the college educated won't be very useful to the system, and so on until everyone is a burden. People talk as if this is only possible, people talk as if the only possible use of information about the determinants of intelligence is to tell low IQ people they are bad. Maybe they never felt the desperate need to reassure someone. No, it's not your fault that everything is going wrong for you. Everything was rigged against you from the beginning. By the time I am a burden, it's possible that I am already. Just because I can convince the system to give me money doesn't mean the system is right to do so. But I expect I certainly will be one before I die. I would like there to be in place a crystal clear understanding that we were here first, and society doesn't get to make us obsolete without owing us something in return. After that, we will have to predicate our self-worth on something other than being able to contribute in the classical sense of the term. Don't get me wrong. I think contributing something is a valuable goal, and one it's important to enforce to prevent freeloaders, but it's a valuable goal at the margins. Some people are already heading for the tails, and pretty soon we'll all be stuck there. I'm not sure what such a post-contribution value system would look like. It might be based around helping others in less tangible ways, like providing company and cheerfulness and love. It might be a virtue ethic celebrating people, unusually good at cultivating traits we value. Or it might be a sort of philosophically informed hedonism along the lines of Epicurus, where we try to enjoy ourselves in the ways that make us most human. And I think my advice to my suicidal patients, if I were able and willing to express all of this to them, would be to stop worrying about being a burden and to start doing all these things now. Wow. Basically, don't worry about it, bro. And go goon. Be a gooner. Be a gooner. Do you go to therapy? I'm a man, and therapy's for the weak. Just kidding. In a video game. Okay. I think the new merch store is live. Wow. Look at how cute these designs are. Not this guy, though. So, it's annoying because we were thinking about going... Oh, so people asked about the plushie. So we were thinking about going with another company a long time ago, but these people really wanted to work with us, and we were like, fuck it, we'll do it. I think we were going to sell these things like $30 a pop too. So we were making no money on these. We're like, you know what? Everybody wants a plushie. Fuck it. And then somebody made a post on their subreddit. One plushie obsessed fan from YouTube drama made a post on their subreddit saying Destiny's a rapist, basically. And then 30 minutes after the launch, they killed our whole product. And they were like, maybe once the lawsuit is over. So, good times. Good times. Fuck that company. We will not be working with them. I don't know if they're actually delusional to think that we would we would wait until afterwards. I wish that people would do a little bit more research on things, or I wish that people would like David Pakman did this too. Like, you've got time to Google stuff and look up stuff. If you're really going to be persuaded by a single post or persuaded by some emails, like, then I don't know. It's just fucking retarded. It's just stupid. Like, if you're signing a contract, if you're setting things up, like, if they felt that way, then you should have said it like months ago, not like wait for one Reddit comment to pull the plug on a thing. It's fucking insane to me, but. Ethan Klein knows I have a psychotic and dangerous stalker who continues to endanger my physical safety. My stalker is heavily involved in Ethan's Reddit community, something I flagged to Ethan. And now Ethan, this is so gross. This person is a disgusting piece of shit. She should be banned and given a permanent guardian to like moderate her daily behavior. The fact that like it is actually so gross. Like, we bring up the stuff earlier from the Mango videos and like the issues that women face in society today. When you get when you get like social issue parasites like this who want to jump on and call everything sexism or everything like, oh my God, he's in deranged sexual harassment. I was like, get the fuck out of here. You're actually such a disgusting social parasite that you would attach yourself to this and try to claim that you're like, it's so gross. This person is actually fucking disgusting. Ugh. Same person. And she says, Ethan has a weird psychosexual obsession with Hassan. Oh, I think we've watched this before.
Acting with Hassan, he's unreasonably good looking and like cool and dresses cool.
Tell me about
it.
it.
But you know what I mean? Like Hassan would be an influencer no matter what he was saying because he is
hot,
very attractive and very cool and genuinely a good person too. I will say, like Hassan is actually a cool, fun, good person.
Well, if you were to say this about like a female influencer, Pokey, she's hot. She's so hot and attractive, and she no matter what, she would like. But whatever, it's not the same, I guess. Reverse the genders. She's alleging sexual harassment. Here's a screen recording of our exchange. I and other women have asked him repeatedly to stop making sexual comments about us on his IG story and orchestrating sexualized, misogynistic online harassment campaigns against us. Jesus. There are new court documents from plaintiff, maybe some good news in there. Yeah, we might go over them. What do I have? What else? Hold on, I've opened so much shit. The U.S. military strike on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities last weekend did not destroy the core components of the country's nuclear program and likely only set it back by months, according to an early U.S. intelligence assessment that was described by 4 people who were briefed on it. I wonder what that means. That's a very vague statement. The assessment, which has not been previously reported, was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Pentagon's intelligence arm, is based on the battle damage assessment conducted by U.S. Central Command in the aftermath of U.S. strikes, one of the sources say. Two of the people familiar with the assessment said Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium was not destroyed. One of the people said the centrifuges are largely intact. The DIA assessment is that the U.S. set them back maybe a few months tops. The White House acknowledged the existence of the assessment, so they disagreed with it. The impact to all 3 sites, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, was largely restricted to above-ground structures, which were severely damaged, sources said. That includes the site's power infrastructure and some of the above-ground facilities used to turn uranium into metal for bomb-making. CNN. We've got a few more months. Don't worry. Trump will get a plan. Trump will get something worked out, guys. Watch the CNN broadcast on it.
This is CNN.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks.
Breaking news.
We have major breaking news into CNN. 3 sources tell CNN that according to an early U.S. intelligence assessment, the U.S. military strikes on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities last weekend did not destroy the core components of the country's nuclear program and likely only set it back a few months.
That's right. So this is an assessment that actually is out from the Defense Intelligence Agency. That is the Pentagon's intelligence arm. And it was based on a battle damage assessment conducted by U.S. CENTCOM after the strikes, according to one of the sources. Let's go to CNN national security correspondent Natasha Bertrand, who has this exclusive new reporting. This is to that question that has been asked about how much damage has been done. This is a real question. It's also a political question that has been to something that Donald Trump has been sort of dealing with here recently. What are you learning, Natasha?
What was that dichotomy? This is a real question, but it's also a political question. I mean, okay.
Yeah, look, Brianna, this is the first assessment that we are getting that the U.S. intelligence community has found about the battle damage that resulted from those U.S. military strikes on these 3 Iranian nuclear facilities over the weekend. And as you said, it was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is the Pentagon's intelligence arm. And it is worth noting that it is a very early assessment. The strikes were only a matter of days ago, and the intelligence community is still gathering intelligence. They are still working to come up with a full, comprehensive picture of what exactly happened here. But based on a battle damage assessment that was carried out by U.S. Central Command, essentially looking at the images and looking at what was actually damaged, the Defense Intelligence Agency has assessed that the core components of Iran's nuclear program are largely intact, and that Iran's nuclear program has essentially only been set back by months. Now, we presented this information to the White House for comment, and White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt, she did acknowledge the existence of this assessment, but she said in a statement that the administration disagrees with it. She said, quote, "This alleged assessment is flat out wrong and was classified as top secret, but was still leaked to CNN by an anonymous low-level loser."
Remember, when the Trump admin talks, as in the White House people, all of that is a lie. It's all, well, I shouldn't say it's a lie. It's all for politics. They don't, the White House doesn't know anything. It's the White House. They don't have researchers, or they don't have people to go out and gather this information or to do these assessments. That's what the Department of Defense is for. So when they are coming out here and contradicting it, like the question should be based on what reporting, and they'll probably just say things I saw on Twitter or X. Like why the fuck would you know? The White House is not going to have more information about this than the DoD, but they will lie openly about everything, no matter what, regardless.
In the intelligence community, the leaking of this alleged assessment is a clear attempt to demean President Trump and discredit the brave fighter pilots who conducted a perfectly executed mission to obliterate Iran's nuclear program. Everyone knows what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets, total obliteration. Now, it is worth noting here that there has been dissent, I should say, within the intelligence community, within the defense. So
I can tell the bombing was successful enough. If they stalled the nuclear program by several months, I was to some degree successful. I don't know. I have no idea how much damage reasonably could be done if you could obliterate everything, or what they were trying to do. I don't know if there's some assessment that blowing up a uranium stockpile is good or not good. I have no idea. I don't know what the, I don't know. Well, I don't know what the long-term strategy is, but I don't think Trump has a long-term strategy, so who the fuck knows?
Community about just how much of an impact these massive bunker buster bombs would actually have on Iran's nuclear facilities.
Is that an acceptable risk-reward mission to you? So people that say shit like this are always people who just think that we should never be bombing Iran no matter what, and they're okay with Iran having a nuclear weapon. I'm not okay with Iran having a nuclear weapon. I think that any stalling of them getting a nuclear weapon, including bombing Iran, I think that's almost always going to be good. Ideally, you want to delay it more, but there's no world where you ask a retarded fucking question like that, like, well, is that worth the risk and blah? Yeah, I would say yeah. Anything that delays it, I think it's worth it, basically, yeah. Short of like nuking the country or like mass civilian slaughter or whatever, yes.
It's far from certain, given that these bombs had never been tested in an actual combat scenario, whether they would actually penetrate those very, very deep underground tunnels that lie underneath these nuclear facilities. And what we are told is that as of now, this Defense Intelligence Agency assessment, it does conclude at this point, again, it is still very early, that those underground facilities, including the centrifuges, including the highly enriched uranium,
on 6/14, I asked you if you had to put $10,000 on it, would Israel and Iran enter into a formal war in the next 30 days? And you said no, absolutely not. Do you think we're any closer to that after the bombing of this info? No, I don't. I don't know what a formal war would ever. I don't think Israel has the manpower for it. I don't think it is the desire for a formal war. All of it is going to be jockeying around this nuclear reactor shit. Like, this is what all of this is going to be about, basically.
That everyone has been talking so much about, those are largely intact. Now, of course, this does stand at odds with what President Donald Trump and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth have been saying in recent days about the impact of these U.S. military strikes. Of course, President Trump said it was totally obliterated, and Secretary Hegseth did as well. And he actually also provided CNN with a statement. And he said that, quote, based on everything we have seen, and I've seen it all, our bombing campaign obliterated Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons. Our massive bombs hit exactly the right spot at each target and worked perfectly. The impact of those bombs is buried under a mountain of rubble.
We should be able to trust him as the Secretary of Defense, but again, as cabinet picks, it's unfortunate, but I don't think I would trust anything because the cabinet is constantly being contradicted by the White House as well. Because when Tulsi Gabbard came out and made statements about the progress of Iran's nuclear program, Trump said that she was lying or wrong. So I don't know like what we can even try. It sucks because especially I've spent so much time as like an institutions defender, and now because of the way that the Trump admin operates, I don't know if it's just hard, it's impossible to trust anything because Trump is an actual fucking dictator. From your understanding, what makes uranium pass into supercritical or whatever, like obviously when the nuke explodes, it's not making a higher percentage 235. Is it literally just if you have 20 pounds of 90% U-235, you're fine, but if you smash 5 more pounds into the 20, it goes boom? I'm trying to think of an analogy, and I don't think I can think of any analogy. I don't know what would work like this. You know what? I did think of an analogy. I feel like nuclear reactions are like the it's like the R naught of a viral infection. Like I think that's like when it's less than 1, that means that for every person that gets infected, you expect there to be less than one other person that gets infected. Having a more enriched uranium is like increasing the the infectiousness of a disease past a certain level. And when a bomb is supercritical, or critical or supercritical, the R naught is just going past 1. That means that when you break apart atoms and the neutrons are released, there's so much of a certain type of uranium inside of this huge block of uranium that you expect there to be more and more and more released based on each atomic reaction, I guess you would say, right? But for ordinary uranium, when the R naught is less than 1, if you blow an atom up or if you split it, enough neutrons are going to be absorbed by the surrounding stuff that it's not going to go critical and it's all not going to blow. It's just the neutrons are going to be absorbed by other things. They're just going to chill, I guess. I don't know. There you go. Close enough.
In Iran, so anyone who says the bombs were not devastating is just trying to undermine the president.
I don't think Israel would have agreed to a ceasefire if they weren't satisfied with the result. Ceasefires don't really mean fuck all. A ceasefire is just like, we'll stop shooting at you for now, but they don't. I mean, this is a fucking ceasefire.
Who says the bombs were not devastating is just trying to undermine the president and the successful mission. Now, our sources did emphasize here that there was severe damage that was done largely to the above ground structures at these nuclear sites. And so there was damage done, of course, by these massive bombs. But the core components of the nuclear program, we are told, they are largely intact, and it only set the program back by a matter of months. Boris Brianna.
Natasha Bertrand, please stand by.
Is there any reason to bomb the uranium rather than have them give it up voluntarily if the U.S. abides by the terms of the JCPOA, which is something Iran has offered to do? I don't know if Iran has offered to do that. I don't think the U.S. is willing to abide by the terms of the JCPOA, given that our current president is the one that pulled us out of it. If Iran would enrich all 60% uranium they have now to 90%, they would barely have 2 bombs, each with 25 to 30 pounds of uranium. It would not destroy Tel Aviv, and the amount of dust would not exceed 100K. They could easily recover in a decade or so. I can't tell how much that post is a troll post. First of all, they had like 400 kilograms of 60% uranium enriched. And if it got up to 90%, that would still be what, like 300 kilograms of uranium? Is 238 the one that blows up? No, 235 is the blow up one. I'm pretty sure that's enough to make like a dozen bombs. I don't think. How much do you need for a current nuclear weapon? It's a lower number, isn't it? Like 20 kilograms can make a bomb. I have to go back and rewatch those videos. If the bunker busters are not enough, are there even any other options to destroy those nuclear facilities? I mean, can't you just keep using bunker busters? Or I guess you would bomb the surrounding infrastructure. People are citing that line from the IAEA report of Iran is not close to making a nuclear weapon. What's up with that? People are playing people are just playing a lot of games with what's being said with certain words based on the agenda that they're trying to push. So making a nuclear weapon is not the same thing as enriching uranium. So you can say that they're still enriching uranium, but they're not any closer to making a nuclear weapon. But the nuclear weapon making process, they might be treating it differently than enriching the uranium. Like making a nuclear weapon, I think is not that difficult. The really difficult part is getting the level of enrichment you need in uranium to use in the nuclear weapon. So you can be on the way to enriching uranium to a weapons worthy level without being closer to making a nuclear bomb. But like if you have the weapons grade uranium, then making the nuclear bomb is not that difficult. What you're describing is increased concentration U-235, but if you combine 90% U-235 with 90% U-235, you get a lump of 90% U-235. And it's obviously not just that. You slam some 100% U-235 into it because they wouldn't, because then why wouldn't the 100% U-235 explode? So I don't think the RO, wait, what? I don't think you can have 100% U-235. I think that would just, is that super critical? I think that would just explode, right? If it was near each other. I don't remember. I don't remember enough. Or it might decay quickly as well, yeah, because there's some natural decay. I don't know how long 235 is stable for, what the half-life is. I should just look, huh? Uranium 235 half-life. If you're Iran's point of view, why wouldn't you enrich uranium after Trump pulled out of the deal for no reason? How many times do I have to answer that? Can chat answer the question for Morbler? I don't know. I feel like I've answered the same question like 400 times. I can't tell if these are like retarded gotchas or if it's people legitimately are retarded or people just haven't heard me say this like a million times. Affair. He understands why Iran wants a nuke. Iran should do it and Destiny knows it. Thank you. Okay. They are being rational. Okay, thank you. Jesus. I've said this a million times. From Iran's point of view, it makes sense why they're going after nuclear weapons. I don't know how many more times I have to repeat that, or if it's just. What is the incentive now for Iran to stay in/comply with the IAEA and not just move all of their nuclear program completely into the shadows since they know the US bombed them anyways? There is no incentive for them to comply with anything. That's why they were going for a nuclear bomb. I don't know how I don't know how that is to understand. There's no incentive for them to comply with anything. That's why they're going for nukes. Half-life uranium-235 is approximately 703.8 million years. Damn! Okay, well, half-life here doesn't matter then. Is the threat of fallout from a nuke over-exaggerated? I mean, it depends on how much shit is getting nuked. I think the fallout scare from a nuclear bomb, well, radioactive fallout I don't think is generally a concern. Radioactive fallout I think is also not supposed to happen because you don't want there to be like radioactive material falling out. You want it to explode, I think, right? The nuclear winter question and the pollution and everything, I think, has to do with how much of that stuff is kicked up when you're blowing up massive amounts of cities and everything. But they were letting the IAEA in to inspect their sites. Pretty sure they weren't since 2021. Wasn't that the IAEA's report? Didn't they specifically and explicitly say that that they hadn't been allowed in since like 2021? What's Iran's long-term goal here? If they know that Israel/Israel will just bomb them, if they try making the nuke, and Iran has to do cuck optics attack after each other as well, are they just expecting that Israel/the US will ignore the nuke program at some point? Or I don't know. The problem is I don't know what. It's funny for all of the retarded fucking talk of Trump talking about Russia and them needing an off-ramp. It seems I don't know what the off-ramp is for Iran. I don't know what we offer them as an off-ramp for Iran. It seems like we have no desire to. I have no idea. Yeah, but it's hard. Remember, it's difficult because Trump is retarded, and that's not just a meme. Like Bush is retarded. Bush is not retarded. U.S. presidents are typically not retards. They're usually Ivy League educated. They usually have a mind for politics. They usually have some like good political upbringing around them. Like generally, people that make it to the office of president have some kind of long-term vision. Whether you agree or disagree with it, they have some kind of long-term vision and current and historical understanding of a particular region. Trump has none. So for all the predictions, everything I'm making. Fuck, maybe tomorrow we go to war with fucking Somalia. Who the fuck knows? Because Trump hears some bullshit about it and decides to do it. Like, it's hard to, it's harder to predict. Like Trump it just sucks at everything. He just sucks at everything. He's just woefully underqualified for every part of the job, unfortunately.
It's green.
Don't care about this. Okay. Oh, we saw that. Oh, wait, this was somebody said, do I agree with Wick's take here? Wick says, man, I don't know. At a certain point, I think it becomes justified. Would I do it? Nah, but what's the alternative? He's just required to take it. Oof, 100 likes and 80 comments. Where do we go diplomatically from here? Because it seems both parties are somewhat just in their actions. Yeah, welcome to foreign politics. The U.S. can't go anywhere diplomatically. We don't have a diplomatic leader. We don't have anything right now. Even our State Department is cucked. Rubio could do it. Rubio has the mind for politics. Rubio has the understanding for doing it. But Rubio is a cuck to Donald Trump. He has no spine and no backbone. He's a shadow of a man who is hollowed out his entire existence to make room for MAGA to possess his body. So I don't know. There is no diplomacy, or there is no reasonable action or guidance that the United States can give to anybody. The question that you have to ask to figure out U.S. foreign policy is what best serves Donald Trump's narcissism. And that's the path that we're going to take every single fucking time. That's it. That's all we have now. So. Jesus. What, does he eventually hit her, I'm guessing? Oh, it's like a Logan Paul fight. Whoa! Whoa, he like chases her. Oh no! Why? They must both be drunk, right? They must both be drunk. Oh my God. At a certain point, I think it becomes justified. I mean, I would agree to some extent. At a certain point, it can become justified, but this was not it. It's not like she was hitting him and then he just got whatever pissed off and hit back. She wasn't hitting him at all anymore. I think they're both drunk as fuck. I think he was either trying to end the fight here or say something, and then she wasn't agreeing with it for whatever reason. Who is this guy cooming? Okay. Is Iran and the USA's beef almost entirely surrounding Israel? No, I think it surrounds, or has to do with Saudi Arabia as well. Oh, there it is. Jesus. She tried to flee, and he beat the Leroux out of her. I don't think she was trying to flee, but she clearly wasn't, like, hitting him anymore. Like, at this point, like, what? Why? Like, this is just dumb. Like, if anything, I would say he's the aggressor now. Especially, like, the multiple hits. Like, she's not even fighting back. These guys have to be drunk. These guys must be insanely drunk. Both of them must be so drunk. Also, look at the difference here. This girl looks like she's, like, an average-sized woman. This guy looks like he's, like, 6 feet, like, fucking 200-plus pounds. Like, it's not even close. It was his turn. Alcohol hangover versus dehydration revisited. The effect of drinking water to prevent or alleviate the alcohol hangover. It's a combination of negative mental and physical symptoms which can be experienced after a single episode of alcohol consumption, starting with blood approach at zero. Popular theory suggests dehydration is the primary cause of alcohol hangover, that the consumption of water could alleviate. This can never happen, I don't believe. But there's a huge difference between alleviate and prevent. If you already have a hangover, I think at that point, I think you just have to suffer it out. Ibuprofen or Tylenol might help, but you can't drink water or Gatorade to get rid of a hangover. You're just going to have a hangover until it goes away. But I thought the point was to drink water the night before. Here, the current evidence on the relationship between hangover severity, thirst, and water consumption is summarized. Positive correlation, the amount of water consumed with both hangover severity and thirst, because both urination and the hangover are co-occurring after effects of alcohol consumption. While hangovers are typically relatively enduring, dehydration effects were usually mild or short-lasting. Survey data reveals that water consumption during or directly after alcohol consumption had only a modest effect in preventing next-day hangover. I wonder what modest means statistically. Modest is good, not a minor effect, a modest effect. No? Iran had the ability to produce 3 nuclear weapons in a matter of days in May 2024. Should we have bombed them at that time then? Sure. The amount of water consumed during hangover was not related to changes of hangover severity and thirst. Thus, water consumption was not effective to alleviate the alcohol hangover. Taken together, these data suggest that alcohol hangover and dehydration are 2 co-occurring but independent consequences of alcohol consumption. Huh. I wonder if water feels like it staves off a hangover just because you're drinking more stuff until you don't drink as much alcohol. Like if I just had alcohol to drink versus alcohol and water, maybe if you drink water and alcohol, you don't drink as much alcohol. And maybe that's why the hangover seems less. Because I feel like anecdotally, personally, I feel like drinking water absolutely helps. But there have been times where I didn't drink any water and I didn't have a hangover. So I don't know. Jesus Christ. I wonder if other VPs had as much excitement as I do. Representative Thomas Massey. Ask Mike Pence about his last month. Damn,
Hmm. 1 minute. The responsibility.
I don't care about this. Who runs this guy's account? Real Donald Trump declared so much war on me today, it should require an act of Congress. Hashtag sassy with Massey. Dude, this guy schizo is so fucking hard. Holy shit. Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky is not MAGA, even though he likes to say he is. Actually, MAGA doesn't want him, doesn't know him, and doesn't respect him. He is a negative force who almost always votes no matter how good something may be. He's a simple-minded grandstander who thinks it's good policy for Iran to have the highest level nuclear weapon, while at the same time yelling death to America at every chance they get. Iran has killed and maimed thousands of Americans, and even took over the American embassy in Tehran under the Carter administration. We had a spectacular military success yesterday, taking the bomb right out of their hands, and they would use it if they could. But as usual, despite all of the praise and accolades received, this lightweight congressman is against what was so brilliantly achieved last night in Iran. That's his weak, ineffective votes. No, and virtually everything put before him. He's like Rand Paul Jr. No matter how good something may be, he's disrespectful of great ability. Like, Jesus, bro. This guy's like fucking live journaling his way through the fucking presidency. What the fuck? You ever notice how many times he posts truths? It's like legit 20 plus times a day. Take a look. Yeah, he just likes the attention, bro.
Then over.
Did you vote for Trump?
I did.
Do you regret it?
A lot of people made a big deal, but I did say that I regretted it the other day.
But then I get a lot of pushback from the audience that I am audience captured by and I get paid so much money from. And then I realize, like, oof, having like principles and kind of like standing by things you believe is right actually kind of sucks. And I really want, you know, access to Joe Rogan's nutsack as much as possible and that Trump crowd and that Trump audience and that Trump money. So I kind of thought about it and I was like, actually, you know, still better than Kamala.
People made a big deal, but I did say that I regretted it the other day. You know, look, voting to me, I have a different like kind of theory of voting than most people do. I think it's kind of like, look, either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump was going to be president. And I do, you know, you'll have to wait till the end of the 4 years. And if this is the end of this war, then overall right now, I'd probably say, yeah, we're still better off that Trump's in there than if Kamala right now, you'll have to wait till the end of the 4 years. And if this is the end of this war, then overall right now, I'd probably say, yeah, we're still better off that Trump's in there than if Kamala.
Okay. Oh my God. Candace Owens, Glenn Beck, and Bill O'Reilly. Medical knowledge, pop quiz. What is the one lab test that can predict with 100% certainty that you'll die from a radiation exposure? If you go into a room and you turn the lights off and you're glowing.
We have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
There was no imminent threat to the United States when Trump made this decision to do what Bibi wanted. And I want to be clear here. This was not Trump's decision. It was Bibi Netanyahu's decision.
Wow.
And that is the reason that he did it. And we're very aware that Israel is dictating our foreign policy, and we would now like that to stop.
He hates nuclear war. He hates regular war.
Yeah.
And I think he just...
Darius needs a pep talk. Oh no, wait, it's on ice beside the stream, right? You seem to disagree with Hassan, saying Kamala would have also bombed Iran. So I'm curious what you think the Dems would have done in this scenario. Was bombing Iran even a bad decision? At this point, it seems to work out. I mean, everything would be a bit different now. Like the Republican approach to Iran has kind of been unhinged. Is it possible that they still would have bombed Iran with Kamala? I mean, it is possible, but the situation would not be completely the same. It's stupid to just have like such a one-dimensional view. But I mean, when nobody understands the politics or gives a fuck about any of it, then it's whatever, I guess.
He's so for the content, like he'll stay here for as long as possible.
Are there still 4 people left in this? How many did this start with? How many more days are they going for?
Okay, never mind. Like, it was too fast. I didn't understand. I just want to understand, bro.
There's a lot of don't quit.
I mean, the chat just wants to see us get tortured. Of course,
Yeah, I know. But I don't think they want to. I think it'll be more better as more people leave. People are just staying here getting tortured.
Yeah. Maybe they'll lighten up if somebody leaves. Nobody's left in 2 days.
And that's also $4,000, $16,000 if I can make it.
Yeah.
That's
good. I mean, odds are if you go twice all in.